So my main reason for wanting to make this video today is because I wanted to just leave a little message with people who are on the entrepreneurial journey, because I myself have been and am on that journey. And so I understand that there's so much that goes on. We know there's so much that you sacrifice to do what you do. There's so much that drives you, again, to do what you do. There's so many hopes, dreams, so much personal sacrifice that's involved in that process. And I think sometimes there's been a lot of change in the world now that for some people might be putting them off that journey. And so if in this video I can encourage people to keep going on that journey, I really want to do that. I don't think there's any better way for you to have your freedom than to be an entrepreneur. And obviously that comes at a cost, and I understand that not everyone wants to pay that cost, and that's perfectly okay. But for some people, they kind of have this thing inside of them where they're like, you know what, I can do it. I want to build this thing. I have this idea. I have this passion. I have this thing that I want to build, that I want to gift to the world, and so I'm willing to kind of make a sacrifice and do what it takes to do it. And so that's the reason why I think that if we can ever encourage these people to bring about the things that are inside of them, that's only a good thing. That's only ever going to be a good thing, because at the end of the day, business is all about creating value for people. People in this market, in this economy that we have, people pay you if you provide a value. People don't pay for things that are not value, or they'll look for someone else who will give them value, which means we're value driven. And that's a good thing, because again, like I said, if you're creating value, you get paid, and then the people that gain the value, they win. So for me, it's just like I said, I'm a big supporter and a big believer in the entrepreneurial journey and in business. So I think that right now, when I speak to people, I feel like there's people kind of in this crossroads where they're kind of at the stage where they're like, okay, cool, I want to do this thing, I have this idea that I want to pursue, they have something they want to build, and at the same time there's just a lot of noise, a lot of distractions, a lot of doubt, a lot of fear, external pressures from other places, which we'll talk about. But like I said, if I can encourage people to go on this journey, to kind of weigh up those options and do it, then I want to do that in this video. So primarily when I'm talking, I'm speaking to people in the UK, so I'm speaking to all entrepreneurs because the journey is the same. But I uniquely want to speak to people in the UK right now because I know that certain things have happened, as we know, that have made it quite difficult and or more difficult, let's say, to kind of pursue what you wanted. It's kind of like there's a resistance, if you know what I'm saying. There's a resistance. If we're talking legislation, we're talking about changes in tax, in things basically the government have brought in, then you know what I mean when I say there's more friction than there used to be before. And what I'd say to that is that I think that when we talk about business, people always, they think of Elon Musk, they think of Richard Branson, they think of Bill Gates, they just think of all these people. When you say entrepreneur, business owner, they think that, they default to thinking that. But the majority of business owners are small business owners. Literally, the economy in the UK, in the Western world, and probably most economies are made up of small business owners, and they are people that live next door. They're people, when you walk down any local high street, all these businesses are small businesses. They're people that they rather than go and necessarily work within an existing company or framework, they've said, okay, I'm going to go out on a limb myself and create something. So it can be the smallest shop, it can be, a restaurant, it can be a flower shop, it can be a taxi service, it could be anything. But these are all small businesses, and that gives us the variety that we have in life and in this world. So as we walk around and we have all these different businesses to choose from, that's because people have gone out and created them. So basically, the backbone of society, the backbone of the economy is small businesses. And if small businesses are de-incentivized to continue, that's an issue. That's an issue for all of us. And like I always say, I just think that for people going on this road of entrepreneurship, it is difficult, it is hard, but it's also very rewarding in so many different ways. And it allows people to buy back their time and their freedom. If you can provide value, if you can dedicate yourself so much to create something to provide value, it means you're going to be rewarded. And I don't think that's something that should be taken away from people. I don't think that's something that should be restricted either. And another thing I wanted to say is that people often say that the gap between rich and poor is getting wider. And I'm going to say, yes, believe me, it will get wider if small businesses are wiped out. If small businesses aren't allowed to flourish, if they aren't allowed to grow, if we don't have more of them, then yes, the middle class will be wiped out. You're going to end up with a whole lot of extremely rich people and a lot of poor people. And it means that people who are quote unquote poor, or in the kind of, lower rungs of society, quote unquote, they don't have a mechanism to be able to acquire wealth for themselves. It means they'll forever be poor because there's no mechanism to be richer. So if you take away the ability of people to go and start businesses, to go out and make money, then it means that you're keeping everyone poor. And that's the reason why I have very strong feelings in this arena, in this space, which I'm sure I'll talk about in other videos. But I remember one thing that just really stuck with me is very recently I went to the UK business, I think it's called the UK Business Show. So it's a show that happens every November, and I think it's called the UK Business Show anyway. But it's a great show. It's a fantastic show. And as part of it, they have all these small businesses there, as well as big businesses. You know, there's small business, big businesses, all of them there. And you know, when you have these kind of big kind of expos, these big events, you have the kind of middle, the core, where the buzz is, the bigger kind of stages are, and the bigger sections are, and then you kind of have the outside and the smaller ones. And I remember walking around, because obviously this is just after we had all this kind of change in government and all these kind of other changes as well. And I remember seeing so many like really, really small kind of like stalls and small places where they had these really small businesses, and they were out there, they had their business cards, they had their posters, they were there trying to do business. I remember I looked at it and I thought, I just like it actually warmed my heart to see it, firstly, because I thought to myself, I was just like, wow, like you're here, out here, representing your business, trying to get more customers. You're here trying to speak about what you do. You're putting yourself out here, because these stores are obviously not cheap. They're not free, and they're not cheap. So you've come here and you've rolled the dice to be like, you know what, I'm going to do this to build my business. As small as it may be, even if you're on the outskirts, in the very, very back in the corner, you've come out to show out for your business and show out for yourself. And I remember thinking, to me, it just made me think about the heart that it takes to go out and do that. Because I feel like at the end of the day, when you start a business, it's a reflection of you, your ideas, and you know what you are and what you think, and you know your decisions. It's a reflection of so many different things, and it takes a lot for someone to want to go out and do that. And I remember even in the midst of a time where people are kind of talking about, oh, you know, it's a riskier time to start business, and kind of, you know, all these different things that are going on, people still came out and they're like, we're going to start business anyway. And I think my point is that you can never stamp out that kind of deep desire in a human being to create, to go out, to prosper, to build, to spark ideas and to make something. People always have it in them. So no matter what a government might try and do, or what kind of legislation is brought in, you can't stamp that out of people. It's inherent. We are created, so we are creators. We create things, and you're not going to stamp it out of people no matter what you do. People will always want to innovate and create new things. And I remember thinking, it's just like, yeah, do you know what? We'll get through this period and people will keep building, because we're in this age, we're in the best age ever to start a business. Like literally, this is the best time to start a business ever in history. All the tools you need are just like, when you talk about equality of opportunity, it's literally there. So what I would say is that ignore that. Whatever's happening in whatever country you're in, whatever resistance you may face, or whatever seems to be up against you, don't worry about it. It's what you have is inside of you, and that's what you need to go and focus on and bring out. So be encouraged to keep going on, be encouraged to keep walking the journey, be encouraged to keep going.